How's it going? This is Fox back again for sound design tutorials. Today I'm going to start going over the patches what are in my electro track made using only Xfer Records Serum. I'll post a link in the description to this track, and for every tutorial containing a patch from this track there'll be a link at the end to take you back so you can see how I made this. I'll link it to part 1, which is then a link to part 2. I've done it in 2 sessions. First one was pretty much all the sound design, and then the second one, as usual, is just the general layout of the track and me doing a quick mix at the end. Yeah, for now, I'm going to go over 3 patches in one today, which is going to aim us to get this sound. That consists of 3 layers: a mid layer, which is this one, another mid layer that's a little bit brighter, and one that covers the whole spectrum, but it is quite bassy as well, so I've called it the bass one. It's got some high end fractures in there as well because it's distorted quite heavily. Yeah, I'm going to go over all 3 patches in one today. I'm going to call it the break pad because it's a pad that comes in the breakdown. This is it in the breakdown itself. Okay, so there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and initialize this preset. We're going to be going over this first part, which I've called mid 2. Okay, oscillator A1 was a dull toy. I think it's in the digital. Yeah, dull toy. I want 2 voices of unison. Detune just ever so slightly, a tiny little bit. Phase them random where they come as standard. Keep the octave on 0. I did use a sub layer. We'll bring that in now. Click it, turn it on. Kept it on 0 and I kept it on a sine wave just to beef it up a bit. In the modulation part for the oscillator, I used a sync window. Had it set to about 10 o'clock on a clock dial. This wavetable position we're going to modulate in a bit with an envelope, just to give it a bit of movement, just to make it not so static. Oscillator B we use as well, turn it on. The only oscillator I'll route through the filter is oscillator A, so don't check this box here, we'll set the filter up later on. I say oscillator 2 is just a basic shape from the analog section, and it was a triangle. Triangle. That's this one. This one octave higher. And the level of this one we want to pull down to about 10 o'clock. We didn't want it to overpower the main body of the sound, which was oscillator A. I'll set this one to sync window full as well, and add the wavetable position to dead center about 12 o'clock. No voices of unison for this one. The main amp envelope, which is envelope 1, I didn't do anything with, I kept it as standard. As I said, the only modulation I did for this sound was I modulated the wavetable position of oscillator A with envelope 2. To do that, just like massive, click on envelope 2, drag this across, drop it on the wavetable position, and then this little blue bit here, this little section that you see there, like upside down horseshoe, that determines how much you want to modulate it. And it was, from where I've got it there, in between 2 and 3 o'clock, negative, to about 9 o'clock on a clock dial. Now you're going to see this wavetable get scrunched together. So we need to back the attack off so it's not so quick. I had the attack about 290 milliseconds, something like that. release weight as a standard. Decay about 740, 750, something like that. That's pretty much it for the sound, and the only effect I used was a bit of distortion. And I set it to diode 1. This is mainly the main distortion that I use. The EQ was off. The drive I had round at 9 o'clock. And the mix I pulled back to about 11. I'll show you it with and without distortion. Without. Just adds a little bit of tingling in the higher harmonics of the patch, which really helps give it some edge. So yeah, that's it for that sound. That's it done. So that's real straightforward, this one. Dull toy and a triangle, tiny bit of modulation on the wave shape for oscillator A, both of them on sync window, and a little bit of distortion. That's it. Nice and straightforward. We're going to bring in the second part of the sound now, which is going to be this one. This one's got a lot more grit to it that you can hear straight away. That's because I've used one of Seamless's wavetables and Fred-like bass. I don't know what one that's from. We'll have to search for that. But yeah, so this is it again. This is taking up the main harmonics of the sound and the main bulk of the mid part of the sound. So we'll go ahead and initialize this one. So yeah, oscillator A was in one of the spectral waveforms. It was Monster 5 SL, which stands for seamless. Pitch this one down 1 octave. 2 voices unison. Set the unison to about 11 o'clock. I didn't touch anything else. Push the wavetable position to just past 12 o'clock. About 136 I had it. 136, 137, something like that will be fine. No modulation on that. I didn't do any modulation to this one at all actually, it's just the effects. I've got some distortion again and some compression. So oscillator B. I didn't set the filter up in that last patch. Let's go back up into that quick. Sorry for this. Skip by that. Filter what we had for the last patch was a Combs filter. It's in the flanges. It was a standard comb. Combs, so it's in the miscellaneous ones. Turn it on. Pull the cutoff down to about 10 o'clock. Resonance side at about 10 o'clock. Drive round to about 9 o'clock. And the mix round at full. Doesn't make that much difference, but it does a little, just gives it a little bit of edge. Sorry if I'm messing you around here by missing that out. We'll go to the next layer again now. So yeah, oscillator B is one called Fred-like Bass. I think this is in the digital. Spectral. Vowel. Oops. Fred-like Bass. So yeah, unison I had to set to 2 again. Detune to the same amount as oscillator A. Didn't use any filter on this. Blend, phase, random pan level, everything how it is standard, and the wavetable position I had at 8. Main envelope I didn't do anything with, no other modulation I say whatsoever. I turned the sub oscillator on, set it to this rounded square sort of sub, and kept the level where it is as standard. Real straightforward patch again, but when you're layering sounds up, it's easy to get a nice fixed sound just by using simple patches and stacking them up and EQing them right. So yeah, so nothing in the matrix section, no modulation at all, which is very unlike me. I use distortion again, diode one again, EQ's off again, drive 9 o'clock, mix about 10 o'clock. That seems to be a setting that I'm liking with this diode distortion. With again. I use a bit of compression as well just to bring it all in check. A compressor ratio I had pulled down to about -11, -10 dB. Ratio I had at 2/1. Tack about 9 o'clock. Release and gain all how they come as standard. I'll bring in the first layer. We're getting there now. So this next patch I've called a bass pad. It's not really a pad sound at all, but it covered quite a wide area of the spectrum. When I was EQing it, I didn't cut much of the lows out or the highs because it had such high harmonic content. So in that respect, pads do cover a lot of the spectrum. That's probably why I called it a bass pad. But yeah, this is it anyway. Heavily sidechain compressed. I'll turn that off for now. So right, let's go over this one then. I'll initialize this again. So menu, initialize preset. The first one is another one of Seamless's Spectral Recy 4. Yeah, the possibilities what you can do with these wavetables it is created are endless. They're massive. Look at them. Every single one of these sections is going to give you different harmonics, different tones, and different things that you can do and use. So yeah, I had 4 voices of unison on this to give it that width that you can hear. Detune round to about 10 o'clock. Wavetable position and at about 102, as close to it as you can get if you want to create it exactly. Had this sync window full again. It's one of my favourite ones for changing the shape of the sound. I only had it up a tiny little bit, just squash it a tiny little bit, about 1%. Pan, phase, random, level and blend all the same. The blend I did push around actually to about 2 o'clock. These 4 over here I'll keep the same. Sub level again, click it, turn it on. I chose this thin pulse for a sub level on this one. I pulled it down 1 octave. And the level and pan where they are as standard. Oscillator A actually, I pulled it down 1 octave. I used a noise source for this as well. I set oscillator A, B, the noise, and the sub all through the filter. We'll click the filter, turn it on in a bit. We'll deal with the other oscillator B and the noise source first. The noise source that I chose, I clicked it, turned it on. This one, Metal Master. I think it's in the there. Metal Master. I'll mute the other oscillators so you can hear what this sounds like. It's quite subtle. It's not really going to hear it much over the depth and the fullness of the rest of the sound, but I did have it in there, so that's what I did. Metal Master. Pitch I had on about 65%, level 69%. So we'll turn the sub back on. And oscillator A. Oscillator B is one called Native Curve. That must be in the vowel again. Yes, Native Curse, sorry. Octave on 0. 6 voices of unison for this. Detuned a little bit higher than you get as standard, in between 12 and 1 o'clock. Phase, random, level, pan. I didn't use anything in this window, the modulation window, the warp menu, sorry. And the wavetable position I had at about 140, 142. Okay, I use an envelope to modulate both wavetables in this patch. A little bit more modulation than any of the other two. I used it to modulate the wavetable position for A and B. B, I pulled it negative down to about 10 o'clock. And A, I pulled it negative to in between 9 and 10 o'clock. Back the attack right off on this, so it takes a while for it to do what we want it to do. I had it at 1.4 seconds. Decay, sustain, release. That's how I had it, quite a long decay, so you're only going to hear it mainly on the longer notes. I mean, you can go crazy with this, you could pull it all the way down to dead 0 and you'd hear it straight away. It sounds nice like that as well, but we'll stick to the settings I had. Okay, we'll go ahead and set the filter up now. As I say, we've got everything going for the filter. Oscillator A, B, the noise and the sub. The filter I used was a flange, and it was flange positive. The cutoff I had round about 2 o'clock. Resonance pretty much where it is as standard. Drive up to about 10 o'clock. The mix on full. That drive on this filter, because it's got quite a broad band before you get any of the real effect of the flange higher on, it just boosts the lows up real high. Real neat trick. Without that drive on, it's quite flat. Okay, we're going to use an LFO to modulate this cutoff as well, just to give it a bit more movement. I used LFO 1. I kept it how it was as standard. I kept it envelope mode on off, kept it to BPM, kept it on a quarter, kept everything how it comes as standard. I literally just dragged it over to the cutoff and then pulled it negative to just before 12 o'clock. A lot of movement going on. This synth with all your modulation sources and all the different things you can bend, it's really easy to get that squelchy sort of nice moving sound. Just the effects to do on this one now, and then I'll show you all 3 patches together. Use distortion again, same settings as all the other ones. That diode one is my favourite. The drive on about 10 o'clock, mix on about 11 o'clock. I used a bit of phaser as well, just to help change it sound up even a little bit more. We're getting some phasing aspects by modulating that flange filter, but I decided to use this as well. The rate, I've got it 0.08 Hertz, depth dead center, frequency dead center, the feedback where it comes, and the phase all as standard. All I did was pull the mix down to about 78%. That's it, so I'll bring the other mid in and the final patch. Feels quite a lot of the spectrum, this sound. If you look at the EQing I've got on here, this lower patch, I'm boosting this section around 300 Hz just to give that more power within the sound. The other mid one, boosting it a little higher on, about 1100 Hz. Cut everything below the 100 Hz, which is the main bass part of the sound. This bass pad's taking care of that. This little notch I've done here, it's like this little bandpass is taking care of the sub. This notch I've done to get out the way of the first one. This is where the main body of this sound is, between 200 and 300 Hz. And as I say, these higher harmonics on this one, I tried to cut them out, but it does make a difference. I'll show you. A lot of high harmonics in this one, as I say. It sounded really good with them left in. So yeah, that's the patch done. I'll show you it in the breakdown again, all three of them in. There you go, a triple layered bass breakdown pad thing. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I'll think about it while it's uploading. But yeah, that's how I go about layering 3 different basses to create this sort of nice, rich, full sound for a breakdown on an electro track. As I said earlier, there'll be a link in the description to this where I made this track in full. The project file will also be available. If you're interested, you can buy this directly from me and downloadable via Dropbox. To do that, all you need to do is email me, mrnfox22@gmail.com, or tweet me at SoundDesignTuts. Once you get in touch with me, we'll talk it through, and if you want it, you can have it. So yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure you check me out on Facebook and Google Plus as well. It's Sound Design Tutorials. Okay, cheers, thanks.